partnership, you prove the partnership when one of the partners are in trouble, and you help them through that trouble journey. You help them through the difficulty that they're in.
I love
you
that.
know that is what the partnership culture should be. Not that, hey, I don't care, here is an invoice, you have to pay.
Today I am super excited because we have the amazing Fay Arjomandi joining us from Mimik and many other things. Fay, before we start, let me just set this up, as you have a very impressive history to be shared. Fay is a serial entrepreneur and renowned leader in tech, having founded L3 Technology, Mobidia, and Mimik. She has filled many executive roles, including CEO of Vodafone Zone, the global venture incubation and beta brand, chairman of Vodafone Americas Foundation, board member of Vodafone Enterprise US, and CEO of Nantmobile. I love saying Nantmobile. Fay has been granted many patents and is the official member of the Forbes Technology Council. Just like me, we got that in common. That's good. She has been named the Edge Woman of the Year in 2020 and was named one of the most influential women business leaders in Silicon Valley. She has also received the Distinguished Business in Vancouver's 2006 Top 40 Under 40. Fay is the pioneer of the disruptive hybrid edge cloud technology, bridging the gap between the cloud and edge and empowering the vertical industries such as fintech, health tech, edtech, and IoT. Fay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I have to say, I'm also a proud Concordia graduate. I always have to say that about the Gino Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science.
I'm really happy that you shared that because Concordia does have an amazing school. I actually studied a little bit at Laval for my first university, so we have the Quebec thing together. So I definitely appreciate that. So tell me, you know what, let's just start right from the beginning. Tell me about Mimik. Please, can you give me set up the founding story of Mimik for me, please?
All right. So as you said, I started, I was also the founder of Mobidia, which was in mobile, basically protocol optimization over network, and we were selling to telcos. And around 2009, as I was testing the performance improvement over wireless link that our dynamic multimedia protocol was enabling, I realized that while we're improving the network capacity utilization by 30% on the wireless link, but there is still a huge delay between the core network to the back end of applications over internet, aka the backend that hosts in cloud. And then I noticed that as the traffic pattern is changing, meaning that mobile connects to internet to consume content. Therefore, mobile always goes to its backend application to grab content. But the promise of so-called IoT, the promise of all connected device, the promise that all the full automation, AI, and smart mobility, robotic, industry, that will change the traffic pattern, meaning that the devices are no longer just going to consume content. The devices are going to produce information. And these automations and these actually intelligent decision making requires these applications to process data and to exchange knowledge. Therefore, it's no longer about mobile internet. It's no longer about mobile connecting to internet to consume content. It's about devices generating information and interact with each other. So it's a bottom up versus top down. And I put the two together. I mean, this is 2009, right? 2009, I came out and I said, guess what? Cloud is not going to scale. And obviously, everybody thought I'm crazy, except for a few. And that's how the idea was born. And obviously, the project code name was Visternet, as in decentralized internet. But later, the name was changed in 2014. Thanks to my business partner, Siavash Alamuti, that came up with the name of Mimicking the Cloud to the Edge.
It's a great
So
name.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is for so many reasons that we can touch on it as we go through this interview. That is how the idea was born, and that is the vision behind the company.
Well, fantastic, fantastic. Well, I want to step back a little bit because when I was doing my research, this is where I realized we have so much intertwined history together, which I think is super cool. So Mobidia, the company you founded in, you said 2009?
No, Mobidia was launched or founded in 2004, I believe. But
Oh,
in
wow. Okay.
2009,
Is when you came up.
as we were testing the platform in telco side, I realized that there is a need for the now next generation of cloud. Therefore, we call it hybrid edge cloud platform. And at that time, Mobidia was in the right place. They had already hired a lot of executives. Actually, I had facilitated to hire that. The solution was mature. The company was in maintenance mode of selling the same solution. So I transitioned out and we started the company.
Fantastic. As founders probably should, you get it to a certain point, because it was about 100 people, I believe, because Mobidia was one of our first early clients. And that's why, we did some work with you. That's why when I heard the name, I'm like, that's amazing. And of course, they got sold to App Annie, which is a great transaction. And we're still working with App Annie actually from the connection of the early days, which I love. So you went then, but well, tell me about your experience with Vodafone then, because there was this period in between as well. And you did some great stuff with Vodafone, please.
Absolutely. So my customer at Mobidia was Vodafone, and at that time there was an established credibility that what we're doing is the right thing, and we're kind of understand technology quite well. So when I started the project Disternet, let's just for the sake of that term to mimic, put the proof of concept together and went back to Vodafone, the Vodafone Germany CTO, Hartmut Kremling. And I said, hey, this is what I'm up for, I'm up to. And at that time, the idea was to add intelligent software middleware into a gateway that is already exists. So I said that for customer premise, it can be set-top box. For enterprises, it can be a gateway. It can be a souped-up Wi-Fi gateway. And Hartmut Kremling really liked the idea, really liked the project. And this was now, I believe, 2010, that they introduced me to now our executive chairman, Siavash Alamuti, who was the Vodafone Group R&D director, and he had just joined from Intel. He's known for he is the inventor of Alamuti code, which is in every Wi-Fi and cellular device that we're using today. And he was the Intel CTO for wireless and mobility. So he had joined as Vodafone Group R&D director, and they introduced me to him. He really liked the idea, and he said that this is brilliant because the world is about heterogeneous network, heterogeneous device, heterogeneous communication. And as they wanted to start an incubator, they said that they like to sponsor our project, but they also asked me to join them and help them with setting up the incubator. So it became an interesting situation. So and I knew that I'm ahead of market with my idea. I mean, that's a curse I have. I think too far out, unfortunately.
It's what they teach you at Concordia, right? To always be ahead. There you go.
Probably. And so I decided to actually help Vodafone while I was incubating the idea. And I was fortunate enough to meet Siavash, to meet Michel Berger, who was the chief architect at Vodafone, and he was involved with the project. Few other people, Metin Barut and all that now working with us. So I established and I always say I'm driven by curiosity, motivated by problem solving. When Vodafone presented me the idea that, hey, we need someone that can help a startup. So I'm like, yeah, I always complain that why telcos are so slow. So this is my opportunity to fast track them to future and give startups what I wish I had available to me but for the benefit of telco as well. So I joined them. I established the brand Zone with an X, so
Yeah.
XONE, embracing the unknown, exploring the opportunity together with Siavash, because at that time I was also reporting to him. And that became the global, basically venture incubation and beta brand. So we established in Silicon Valley, invested in 50 companies, launched 6 consumer solution under Vodafone Zone. So Vodafone Zone became the only second brand of Vodafone combined with something else. And expanded globally to Italy, Spain, Germany, Egypt, and the UK. So we kind of created a mini Vodafone inside Vodafone. It was a very cool process, and I had reporting to dotted line reporting to Vittorio Colau, the CTO group, group commercial, and CEOs of countries. So it became a very, very agile, evidence-based approach to decide whether a solution can scale globally across Vodafone network. And that was the operating model. It was a very successful model. A lot of operators try to follow that model. And then at 2014, again, I often say I like to set up a platform that can work without me. So everything was in place, from platform, from operating model, technology, and solutions were delivered in the market. We launched the first e-commerce platform of Vodafone that customers, the Vodafone Zone beta brand customers, would go and sign up and get involved, because it was also about customer engagement, getting feedback of customer in the solutions that that Vodafone beta brand is launching. So and then in 2014, as things evolved and things set up, I decided to move on. But 2013, Siavash had left Vodafone, so I seized the opportunity to ask him to join the company. And at that time, we were shaping the company. We were also realizing that we want to move from middleware to turn any device into a cloud server. So I asked him to help me with the company. He accepted to become a CEO of the company. And Michel Berger left. I asked him to help me. So that's when the company kind of moved from his first phase of research to productization and developing the product in a very quiet model with the existing group that were already working with Mimik. So that's the story. I know it's a lot of parallel words that are happening at the same time.
But it shows that you took advantage of the relationships. And I mean, when I say take advantage, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean in a super positive way. You create relationships, especially with such a great global brand that has a lot of trusted people within it, and then you extend and continue that into the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter, which I think is such an important lesson. And it's so fascinating. And I gotta say, so we again. This is where our paths do this. We worked with you, with the pre-Mimik brand, and that is where I learned a lot in terms of management. We made an Android app for you, okay, but for Disternet, okay, in the very early days. But that's where I got to meet your team in Afshin, okay, and I have never met we have amazing project managers, whatever you have. I have never met a more Zen human being in my life that is all about bringing everyone's stress down and just solving problems. And you have found a gold mine in that individual, I must say. So I really wanted to touch on Yoda. How long have you been working with Yoda, Afshin, and how did you find him, may I ask?
I have to say, throughout my life experience and work experience across the world, and somebody told me where people are, politics are. So I had to deal with a lot of people politics, and this is so time consuming. But as I went through the journey, And that's one thing I'm very proud of. And sometimes I get the credit for it. That's one thing I get the credit for it, is the people that we have in Mimic. You know, a super cool bunch of group, every individual at every level, passionate with one common goal, marching toward one single goal, hard worker, want to change the world, want to have a positive impact on the world. Their goal is problem solving. And as I went through my journey, people that they're no longer I'm working with, but people that maintained and we have stayed together and working together. I have some of my team members that I've been working with them for 20 years across different projects.
Amazing.
And that is one thing that I value. You know, I value people. And we don't have a hero mentality inside Mimic. We don't have God mentality. Sometimes I say companies start with one so-called superstar. Look at the people that we have on their Mimic roof. All overachiever, all brilliant mind, all humble, all collaborative, all passionate. That's the gold mine that we definitely have. And I think it's something that we celebrate day in and day out, you know.
As you should.
Yes.
Well, you know, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said absolutely.
Can I actually give you my example of why I think Afshin is so amazing? And I hope he's listening, because honestly, the guy, I learned so much from him in just this one episode, because you guys were always under pressure to deliver for like, you could feel it every time you talk, and really professional, well managed. And we had one contractor because we needed to get him in quickly, and he wasn't what I would consider our best quality candidate. I was very disappointed how it worked out, in the sense of, we needed to deliver. He phones me out of the blue when we knew we needed to deliver the next day. He goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm in Amsterdam." And it was like, pardon me? He goes, "Oh, I'm in Amsterdam. I might need today off. I'm visiting my daughter. She's here." I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And I remember just like putting down the phone and going, we needed to deliver today. And I phoned up Ashley, like instantly, just phoned him up and said, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to start. And you could just, explain the situation. He just took a deep breath. He goes, "Chris, the world is full of problems. We'll just find a solution to this. Do not worry. We will figure it out." And I just wanted to work harder with him after he had that such positive, way to deal with it when I knew he was under pressure. So, having people that have that positive attitude make big changes in people's lives when they see that light and just want to go towards it as well. So that's why
Absolutely.
I wanted to touch on him specifically, because
Absolutely.
he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
It is important. You see, partnership, first of all, definitely we have the culture of being solution oriented. Problem, that's what we exist. That's what the engineers are about, problem solving to begin with, right? But you have to always focus on solution, and partnership has a deeper root, partnership. In fact, there's a situation I have that I constantly remind the people that partnership, you prove the partnership when one of the partners are in trouble, and you help them through that trouble journey. You help them through the difficulty that they're in.
I love
that is what the partnership culture should be. Not that, hey, I don't care, here is an invoice, you have to pay. The world, as you said, the world is full of problems. We just have to have the understanding that as long as there is a relationship, as long as there is trust, as long as we agree to each other's final outcome, and we work based on full transparency, we respect each other's situation, and we find a solution and move forward. And that is absolutely an important element in the culture of Mimic, that rooted within every individual. And that's how we operate. We operate based on success and win-win situation for all parties. We operate based on transparency. When we do a work for a customer, we want to make sure that is a good solution, that is the right approach, that is the right architecture. We're not here to scheme the customer. We're not here to say, okay, I just want to create more and more job for myself, which is similar inside the company. A lot of company politics start from when people start defending their own territory versus trying to solve a solution and move forward, right?
Completely. I think we have very, very we're in simpatico with a lot of this philosophies, which is, maybe why we have such intertwined history.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? So I talked about Ashen. His nickname's Yoda. I don't even have to guess that because I understand why it's Yoda. If he is Yoda, you are the fixer on your website. Why the fixer? Please tell me.
Well, I have two names. One is the troublemaker that I gave myself. One is the fixer, right? So troublemaker is because the joke is I always come up with ideas that now the team have to figure out how to solve it, to address it or come up with a solution for it. But the fixer, because I think over time, and that maybe the life I lived from childhood, being raised in the turmoil situation in Iran with revolution, with war, with then being a refugee, and then moving from one country to another country, and then trying to figure out life on my own. I think I'm a great chaos organizer. It's like when the chaos happens, I kind of go for it and I try to solve it and I try to organize it. So that's the fixer come from, because and it's kind of, okay, team, calm down, we can do this, we can do that, how about we do it this way, collaboration. So that's where the name come from.
I love it. I love the fact that it's you've got the fixer and the destruction. We'll leave it at that. I mean, that's awesome. One thing that has super impressed me, obviously, and I know it's a big announcement for you, is the board that you have, and prior to this latest announcement, I got to say your board's actually super impressive to begin with. I would even say world class, which is an awesome thing to reflect on, especially in Vancouver. But tell me, how did you not convince Cathie Wood? Tell me the story about that relationship with Cathie Wood, because obviously it's kind of like having Bill Gates sit on your board. How did you manage to do that?
So absolutely. So number one, people that we have. Anybody who looked at this group of people and they interact with this group of people, they get impressed, and then technology that we have, right? And it takes a smart people to recognize the smart people, right? So it takes visionaries to recognize the vision. It takes disruptors to recognize what we're up for and what we're doing and what we're disrupting, and we're really powering up the hyper-connected world, which is the next generation of solution. This is about, as I said, we're transitioning from mobile internet era to the hyper-connected world era, which means digital come to our physical life. We're not going to digital world. Digital intersect with our physical life. And that is by orders of magnitude larger than mobile internet. That is the time to actually disrupt. That is the time for entrepreneurs to realize and stop following the app economy. This is almost like we are at the beginning of the birth of mobile internet and and internet created by people who built foundational technology, built platform, built enabler, not app economy. The app economy became the razzle dazzle and distraction at some point. So Cathie, and as I said, look at Sivash Alamuti, the inventor of Alamuti code, Ori Sassoon, who was the first chairman of VMware. They saw disruption early stage. Alan Salmosi, who was the number 2 guy at Qualcomm, and Cathie was in parallel world with us, right? He also talks about democratizing investment. We're talking about democratizing and decentralizing cloud, right? She talks about the 5 key trends that smart mobility, AI, robotic, blockchain, and genome sequencing as the 5 key trends. And she talks about how the vertical sectors are going to be dissolved to horizontal systems, right? We're talking about, it's not about IoT, Internet of Things, it's about Internet of Systems, because everything needs to communicate with everything. It's no longer about vertical app, it's about horizontal communications of system in order to drive to a decision. So as we met and as we start talking about what we do, what she does, and when I saw one of her first video, when I saw the video that she talks about this 5 key trend, I said, this is mimik. This mimik enables that, you know. So then we interacted. Obviously, it was a process of due diligence and all that, and we were matched. We were another, match, and there are a lot of. Obviously, she's a visionary. She's an economist. Her vision about the future is exactly right, and it's exactly like our vision. And from the financing side and from the future world, she recognized what mimik has, and it was a pleasure to actually getting to know her. And also bringing her into mimik. And again, as I said, we're all about, our technology is about decentralization. Our culture is about people, and that's the key thing for us.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more in her recognition of the future. We actually had an all hands on board, meeting with our CEO. I'm not actually the CEO of TTT. I'm the president. We have a CEO who's incredible, and we actually used ARC Ventures guidelines as how to drive where we want to go in terms of our technology. So again, I mean, you're speaking the right thing, because Kathy's, fantastic in terms of, just her basic knowledge. I watched a video that she gave about the inflation going up, and it was this about two weeks ago, and I can't believe she can talk about so many different variables off the top of her head, for 30 minutes. It's very impressive, I gotta say. So anyhow, I salute and congratulate you on extending your great board. I won't say having a great board because of her. I'll say extending a great board.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to talk about one other fellow who's on your board, because I have a lot of respect, is Jonathan Bond, who I actually met at one of the Vodafone Zone events in the early days of, we had a product that was all about sharing media on multiple platforms. So we were actually pitching at the event. This was down at was it? I think it was at I can't remember. It's right by the airport. So in San Francisco. But Jonathan, who we hit it off like that instantly. Great guy, I got to say. But what was quite funny is he asked me, "Oh, you're in mobile. What's your thoughts around this?" And but what he showed me was what we made for old Mimik, which was like, I know that very well. It was like one of those bullseye, hey, that just happened to be, 1 in a million chance that I know that product very well because you just showed the exact code we worked on.
Jonathan Bond is a great person, and he's very knowledgeable in the Asia market. He's now our advisor, and he's an investor into Mimik himself and his group. It's about smart people, visionary people. I mean, internet is started by people who want to disrupt, and people who disrupted the status quo. Entrepreneurship is about, to some degree, disrupting a status quo, right? And investment is about investing in innovative ideas that they want to disrupt the status quo as well, right? To some degree, again, and then that's what I call about the tail end of app economy, because you have a group of investors that they just want to, obviously, they just want to repeat the same thing and repeat the same recipe of making omelet and then selling it to another guy, and the money rotates, right? But this is the time and the opportunity for new investors, which we're seeing getting created even around Mimic. A lot of funds are now getting created around the hybrid edge cloud and Mimic as the byproduct of all the partnership that we're building. And these are who you see on our board, and relationships such as John Bond and also our boards who invested in Mimic, and the new investments that are coming to Mimic. These are now, I would say, these are now the next generations of investors in startups for hyper-connected world. People that are addressing the physical world problems, right? That's where the digital and physical intersecting. So this is what's coming down, and yes, these are the people that we have, and that's one of the reason, by the way. One of the reason when you look at how Mimic got created, and I personally had to do a lot of these type of a maneuvering and being somewhere else while helping Mimic, or being inside Mimic and asking people to help, is because also who invest in us was very important for me. Who partner with us was very important for me. Who is my board member was very important for me. We knew that we're not in a quick app economy. We knew that this requires patience money. We knew that this requires time to create, develop, test. Sometimes people are saying, hey, it takes you 10 years to develop this. Yes, because if you're developing an app, yes, you're developing it with minimum viable feature. And I understand that. You develop it with 2 features and then you add new feature. But if you're developing the hybrid edge cloud platform that supports Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, Linux, QNX, FreeRTOS microcontroller, that applications can communicate with each other, you can go with a minimum viable feature. You either have a hybrid edge cloud platform or you don't. You either have API for developers that they can consume and build their application, or you don't. You already have an answer for what happens if the network gets disconnected, or you don't. So these are the things that we needed to do. And to do that, we needed people who understand it takes time. It's a process. It's not just, hey, playing the finger and now I bought 1 million users that now using the application, and now I exploit their data, and now I sell their data, and now I get revenue, and screw the people type mentality, So that's why we have the people that we have in our board, with our partner, with our team members. That's why we have who we have on our board. Within Mimic umbrella company.
Oh, it makes total sense. The more I listen to your philosophies around it, the more I totally agree, in the sense of, it's like the medium is the message. So like the devices themselves is the real medium. The media itself is superfluous because it can live anywhere. And, I totally understand that. And when you talk about the app economy, the end of it, I actually totally agree. And we as a company we're known for making apps. I mean, but I spend 20% of my sales calls now talking people out of doing apps. And I always try to explain 2 things about apps, which are very difficult for the young entrepreneurs always want to do app first. But I'm like, first off, they're very expensive to get people to download because you have to market them. And secondly, when was the last time that you downloaded an app that wasn't a game? And everyone just goes, oh, because it's a fact. You've got the same core apps. They're all kind of doing a lot of the same thing. Back in the day when apps just did one small thing, there was a lot of value in that. But now they're, they got these big, large offerings that do a lot. And I can't agree with you more in the sense of the real future is just being the platform that can just give features that the user needs. The app itself doesn't matter. It's the platform, it's the edge and the heart that you're creating. So I think that's super cool.
Absolutely. It's about intelligent solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we're a platform that enables development of those intelligent solutions. But it's about intelligent solutions that interact. I mean, we talk about, hey, today we have a smart home solution in our home. Is it really smart? You know,
Mm-hmm.
having a camera that constantly that's set to protect my intrusion to my home, but streaming to cloud and people can see what's going on in my home. Is it smart?
Mm-hmm.
Having a smart home that my solar panel cannot share data with my thermostat, is that a smart? Having a solution that exploits my data, the privacy of my home, is that a smart? So there is any, and that's what we talk about, the
Mm-hmm.
systems that need to communicate, the systems that maintain my data privacy.
Mm-hmm.
We are very passionate about data privacy. We are very passionate about the data right, to be the data right, and data being treated as a financial asset for data producers, because we have to put an end into this data exploitation. And that's one thing that we always talk about: develop responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mr. Developer, that you're developing an app that is about exploiting people's data, do you realize that is going to backfire your life? That is going to impact your son's life. That is going to impact your daughter's life. Pharmacy application that is about user come to a pharmacy and now I know their data and I promote pills to them while they are there with advertising. The advertisement model was the biggest flaw of mobile internet. It
Mm-hmm.
was the biggest mistake we made in the data exploitation. And that's where the next opportunities are. Socially responsible application that have a fair business model and really provide intelligent services for users, for enterprises, for all the stakeholders. So the opportunity is massive.
Mm-hmm.
The market has opened up uh, for a lot of innovation, uh, for a lot of opportunity of creating businesses that by orders of magnitude, again, I want to emphasize that by orders of magnitude is bigger than the mobile internet era,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And that's where smart entrepreneurs need to think through, and that's where developers need to think through. In fact, we're celebrating the fact that we're a bunch of geeks in Mimic, and I think being geek is good thing,
Mm-hmm.
versus being a razzle dazzle, pretending to be the cool developer and just the attracted to a brand versus, hey, I'm here and I'm learning while
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something, which means that I'm adding to the wealth that I have in my
Mm-hmm.
brain. I used to use a term that I called walking zombies. When you just do the same thing every
Mm-hmm.
day, 9 to 5, and slowly the brain power diminishes, and slowly the individual become the slave to their paycheck. And that's where people become dispensable. The same way that you leave to a company because someone pays you $10,000 more, the same way you get replaced because sometimes someone pays less, and
Mm-hmm.
your job is now not about thinking and solving the problem. Your job was about adding a feature up, adding a feature down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to utilize this opportunity and build knowledge, build successful businesses, build technologies that impact our life positively.
For sure. So what, you know, you totally interest me in the path of, we'll call it inventor, we'll call it fixer, all these things. When did you know you'd be an entrepreneur? Like, when was that thought, that aha moment of, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, or I want to be an entrepreneur? Did you have like a very hit by lightning time?
No, I didn't. And I never thought through it. I never thought, hey, one day I want to be an entrepreneur. And I still don't know how I became an entrepreneur. But I think you could say that when I started my first company, L3 Technology, and that was during the time. Now I'm aging myself. I was working for the company MDSI, Mobile Dispatch Solution Incorporation in Richmond.
Yep.
And the mobile workforce management application that was running on a laptop, and they were looking at, let's move that to mobile. And mobile was an HP iPac devices with a 2-slot CD/PD jacket and GPS as a PCMCI card. And I realized, and this is the time that what was it? GPRS was the network, the fastest speed network of the future, which was fast by its own merit. And then I thought that, okay, developing an application from and I realized the challenges that the organization is going through to transition a laptop app to a mobile app. So I came up with the idea that, hey, that should be easy. We should be able to develop a bunch of modules that now people like a SDK and give it to the mobile app developers to start developing, the focus on their business logic, versus trying to, every app needs messaging, every app needs extraction of GPS location information, every app needs processing a task. So I was thinking already about platform even. I mean, that is a bug I have. And it was my experience of moving from a laptop app to a mobile app that, again, I think I'm always become the first user of, hey, this is a problem I have. This is a problem I'm sure everybody else has, which I was working at MDSI, and I knew that's the problem that they have. And I came up with the idea, and back then it was through the e-commerce hot word of everybody were creating an e-commerce solution. Didn't know anything about how to create a company, but I just started it. It was another problem to solve, and we managed to solve. I managed to solve it. So that's how it started, and that's how it continued. Again, I have the bug that when there is a problem, and it gives me the butterfly effect. That, hey, I call it, is like falling in love. There's something there tells me you can solve this, so I go for it.
Do you know what I love? I mean, first off, congratulations for having the confidence to do that, because it takes confidence to say, I want to found a company. I want to fall in love with this, and I don't want a paycheck right now. I want to take that, live the life of an entrepreneur, which I think is a very brave thing. But what I'm really reflecting on when I hear all this, and I think why Mimik is successful through your ideas and all this, is you are not thinking small at any point. You are thinking systemic. Like, this is large thoughts. And I don't think you can come up with Mimik unless you're thinking large, because you're thinking, again, the medium is the message. You're thinking large networks, and forget the network layer only, or forget the application layer only, or we have to think holistically and solve the problems that way. And and then having a Vodafone as a partner throughout that journey definitely helps you, because they are the network in looking for all that. So I just wanted to reflect on that. I really appreciate how large you think. And I think other people, I challenge anyone who's listening to this, think large like Fay, because you can do great things. I promise you can.
That is a true statement, Chris. I think holistic, and I manage, and I've been fortunate enough. Again, I want to make this very clear. I've been fortunate enough that through my life, have the team that we have in Mimik. Every team member followed the vision. I mean, they saw the vision. They saw how big that is, and they had the courage to stick around and be at it. Iterate, be at it, learn, grow together. But yeah, that is very true. I think systematic. I think big picture. I think holistic, and I always want to change the word. That definitely comes with teamwork. You can't change the word without teamwork. That's what I mean. That we don't have this star-stucker culture in Mimik.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I will follow Mimic until you become the unicorns that you are and should be, and an anchor company, in Vancouver and globally. So thank you so much for your time today, for sharing, for letting me go through the path of realizing again how interlocked multiple entrepreneurs' journeys can be, and best of luck with continuing that journey.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing about the unicorn, and I appreciate what you mean by that. But I often laugh and I say, in the world of technology, if we believe in unicorn, which doesn't exist, we're doomed. So, and I strongly believe that is actually one of the noise that we usually try to avoid of calling ourselves a potential unicorn. We're here to build a sustainable business, and I think. Last year, as tough as it was for everybody, we proved that we built a business that is resilient, because we didn't even have one layoff, and we actually achieved a lot last year, from partnership with IBM, Amazon, new customer acquisition. Obviously, the Cathy Wood was an effort of 2020 that flourished in 2021, and we're here, and this market is about ecosystem. So I also want to acknowledge all our partners, customers, because we're building a sustainable ecosystem together. And that is the opportunity. So obviously we're here to build a sustainable business, a successful business, a successful ecosystem, a successful partnership that everybody win together. And that is something that we definitely look forward to seeing it flourish more and more.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to continuing watching the journey and seeing where things go, because just keep growing such a great team and keep doing the great things you're doing, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for having me in your program, and looking forward to working with you in other opportunities for sure.
Love that. Love that. I think it's going to continue. So excellent.
Absolutely.